I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve, stress, shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't hit, I don't slay. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. They don't want it when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem, man. Perfect, let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous, cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the option. Woo! Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Watch how I get ahead. Woo!
It's time! Welcome to DFS by the Numbers with your host, Brady.
Better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC 287. Israel Adesanya versus Pereira 2. We have a 13-fight card. So far, all 13 fights have stayed on. We made it past the weigh-ins. Ceremonials are just wrapping up as well. Still 13 fights on. But as you guys know, last fight card, we lost the Cop Perez fight after the fight's already started. So hopefully none of that shenanigans this week. And yeah, really looking forward to this card. Top to bottom, I have a ton of bets, 17 bets. And this is wild, but all 17 of those being plus money bets. So taking some shots on some dogs, taking some shots on some plus money spots. Not a big card in terms of unit size. I think I only have like 6 units on the card, but 17 bets, lots of stuff sticking out, and lots of small sprinkles sticking out as well. Before we get started, if you guys could please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Getting pretty close to that 20K subscriber goal. Once I do hit those 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to start doing a new show during the week, might be even a couple times a week, but going to be doing that once I do hit 20K. So maybe early next month would be cool to kind of kick that off. So make sure you do subscribe if you don't already. If you guys have not signed up yet for Underdog Fantasy, be sure to do so. Use that promo code DFSBTN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Lots of stuff sticking out on Underdog Fantasy this week. And then there's a play I'll be talking about during the stream as well. Looks like the ceremonials are about done. They're about to do the main event here. So people are going to start rolling in, but I do want to shout out the chat as always. And the first person we will shout out is my buddy Sean V. What is up? Let's go, Brady. Let's go, Sean. What is up? How you doing? We got Kai in the chat. Let's get it. Let's get it indeed. We got Herb saying from a Grady to a Brady. Let's go. Let's get this bag. Let's get it. Grady, I like it. Tony saying lots of great stuff on this card. The big title rematch, the debut over Rosas, and Brady's favorite fighter to bet on all time, Godinez. Yeah, probably my least favorite fighter at this point in Loopy. But yeah, looking forward to the card. It should be a very good one. Mo saying back the truck up on Rosas Jr. I won't be doing so, but I am picking him to win. And I don't think Rodriguez looked greatest at the weigh-ins, but we'll talk more about that fight in a little bit. Elder saying, where are you at, Brady? I'm right here. Was a little bit late. We wanted to kind of wait for the ceremonials to wrap up a little bit. They started late, so I had to start late, so that kind of sucked, but it is what it is. We got Jan in the chat saying, let's go, let us go. Got Jacob in the chat as well. You can't be serious in the chat as well. Tony saying, hey, Brady, let's make some money this card. I remember your passionate take from a few months ago, no betting on Godinez. Yep, after Godinez, the whole Godinez fiasco against Angela Hill, I only laid chalk on women's MMA once after that, and that was a while ago at this point, and that was on my one of my favorite female fighters, Loma Luke Boonmi. But yeah, since then, I really stopped laying chalk on WMMA, and hey, it's paid off quite a bit, as you guys have seen over the past couple weeks. Can't trust, let the opponent back up Holland. You cannot trust Holland as well. Holland has a questionable fight IQ, but I do unfortunately have a bet on Holland this week. We'll talk about that. I think Loopy's going to destroy her, but can't bet it. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to lay minus 300 on Loopy Godinez. Adesanya early submission would surprise me a little bit, but he said he's going to go out there and grapple. We got Uncle Weezy saying, dude, where the hell are you? Every time me and Weezy call each other and it's important, we say that exact quote. And for example, last card, Nate Landwehr submitted Austin Lingo in the second round, and I called Wheezy and I said that exact quote. I said, where the hell are you? Nate Landwehr just got a second round sub. And Wheezy was at dinner, so I interrupted the guy's dinner. I felt kind of bad, but I thought Landwehr sub too was pretty important to let him know. But yeah, shout out to Wheezy. What is up? How are you doing? Got Randy saying, who's the highest scoring fighter on DraftKings? That would be, pretty sure it's Merab Dvalishvili. Went out there and put up a massive score against Petr Yan. So I think it's Merab there. Got Aiken in the chat as well. What is up? Hag Bard in the chat saying, may the MMA gods bless you with stacks of winning tickets. Yes, sir. Like it. Express in the chat as well. What is up? And then Gunny saying, Michelle Waterson and Jacqueline, both fine as hell, dog. I suppose. All right. Adesanya will grapple like a... Yeah, what was up with that weird Adesanya quote yesterday? I forget the exact quote, but something along the lines of he's wearing a collar because he's a dog and he's about to be released or something, or unleashed. I mean, that was probably the worst moment in UFC history. So shout out to Adesanya. I mean, literally the worst moment in UFC history with what he said last night at the press conference. I was shocked that he said something like that. But anyway, yeah, and he was wearing a crazy outfit as well. So you know what they say, crazy outfit, bad outfit typically leads to a bad performance. So we'll see. All right. I say we get into it, guys. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff. I'll be going live tomorrow for Best Bet. We have Wheezy on, myself on, and then Billy Briz on as well. So yeah, should be a good show tomorrow. And yeah, I say we get into it. All right. We're going to kick off the card with Jacqueline Amarim going against Sam Hughes. And I have a ton of bets on this card. Like I said, a lot of those being plus money, taking a lot of plus money shots. Nothing that I'm laying chalk on this week. Nothing where I'm like, I want to smash this spot. I want to put a ton on this spot. I think my biggest bet is 0.5 units. So just a lot of those, which you don't have to hit a lot of those bets to be profitable. And I think that's the plan coming into this week. And my first bet of the night is the under 2.5 rounds at plus money, plus 100. This was my first bet of the week. And yeah, a pretty easy bet for me. We have Jacqueline Amarim, who is a pretty big favorite. She's sitting around like the minus 235 range. It looks like money's coming in on Sam Hughes, and I get it, just due to the fact that Amarim is very unproven. She's fought the worst level of competition imaginable, and she's never seen the second round, which is weird for a strawweight. But I am buying into Amarim here. I think she's solid. I mean, her credentials are off the charts. Multiple-time world BJJ champion, second-degree black belt. Has been training BJJ since she was 8 years old. I did a ton of research on Amarim, whether it's tape study, whether it's checking out the Instagram. And I think she should go out here and beat Sam Hughes, just due to the fact that Sam Hughes, she has a 47% takedown defense, right? So she's getting taken down by, Loma Luke Bumi. She's getting taken on by pretty much anything she's fought thus far in the UFC. And my thinking is, if Amarim gets one takedown, the fight is over probably shortly after. So I like Amarim to get this fight down to the mat early and finish it in the very first round. But I think if you like Hughes, you got to wait for the second round. You got to wait for a live bet here. I would not pull the trigger on Sam Hughes right now. Why not wait till after the first round? Because, Sam Hughes, I think she loses this first round, if not loses it inside the distance. So I'll be looking at a Sam Hughes live bet potentially, but I think it's Amarim early or I think it's Sam Hughes late. Either way, I like the under here. And I know it's crazy to say for a strawweight fight, but, Amarim's never seen the second round. She's never been over 1.5. She's never been over 2.5. She's only been over a half of a round once. So it's a big step up in competition, but still, I think she should get it done. From a DraftKings perspective, I think it's a really good fight to kick off this card. 9,000 for Amarim. I think when she wins this fight, it's in the first round. She puts up a big score. I don't think she's going to have crazy ownership. And then as far as Sam Hughes, I think she's a solid dog here at 7,200 because, Amarim very well can go out here, drop the ball. Like if Amarim is not able to get the fight down to the mat, it could look very bad. And if this fight leaves the first round, it could also look very bad. And Sam Hughes has pulled off plenty of upsets before, and it would not completely shock me if she survived that first round. But I am more so of the opinion Amarim does get it done early, but I will be having some Sam Hughes ownership on DraftKings because I think she's going to be very low owned as well. So yeah, good fight to target to kick off the card, and a fight that I'm really looking forward to. Really looking forward to seeing the debut of Jacqueline Amarim, and I think it's a test that she does pass here for sure. Sam Hughes with the random female underdog win. Yeah, I mean, it's always in play. It's always in play. And with all the question marks on Amarim, the level of competition, the limited experience in terms of getting it later into the fight, it would not completely shock me if Sam Hughes put off the upset. So yeah, I'm not laying minus 230 on Jacqueline Amarim. I would not do that. If you like Amarim, you probably better inside the distance or in that first round. Got Propaholic in the building. What is up, Propaholic? I'm taking Jacqueline Amarim to be or buy sexy. I don't know what the odds are on that, but Uncle Weez is saying Amarim first round submission. I'm right there with you. I think it's first round sub for Amarim. Amarim should win, but can I remind everyone this is a WMMA? And yep, exactly. Like I was watching tape on Amarim, like, man, I think she's the real deal. But yes, we have seen WMMA favorites drop the ball plenty of times. Tony saying taking Amarim over the UFC's greatest steeplechase runner of all time. I like it. All right, we'll keep moving on. We have Shalion and Durden going against Steve Garcia. And this is a matchup where I think it's a closer fight than these odds do indicate. And the line has been crashing down throughout the week. It's a fight where I kind of went back and forth on. At first, I was on Steve Garcia. Then I'm like, yeah, Shalion probably has more paths to victory here. And yeah, I think Shalion probably should be favored, but it's hard to trust the guy, especially where he was at early in the week. But yeah, money's been pouring in on Steve Garcia. It's now Steve Garcia plus 155, and Shalion is only minus 180. So a spot that really stuck out to me this week was the finish only. Scorecards, no action for Steve Garcia, just due to the fact that I think the most likely scenario here is Shalion mixing in the takedowns, controlling Steve Garcia. We've seen Garcia controlled for a lot in the UFC. Luis Pena controlled him for over 14 minutes. We've seen him controlled in fights outside the UFC. So I think Nuremberg is going to take that path. I don't really think Nuremberg is going to want to stand with Garcia just because that's where Garcia is the best. He's very dangerous. He's bigger. He's huge for the division. And Nuremberg, he does have some power. I don't think he's the best striker in the world, though. So yeah, I think that the most likely scenario is a Nuremberg kind of grinding out Garcia for a decision. But the scorecards, no action. The finish only for Garcia, I got it at plus 195. It was plus 200 on DraftKings. I think that's a solid look there because I think if there's a finish in this matchup, Steve Garcia is going to have a lot of opportunities, whether it's on the feet or even on the mat, just due to the fact that Nuremberg has been submitted 6 times and he's been knocked out twice. So Nuremberg has been finished 8 times in his career, which is that's a lot. That is a lot of time. So the pick is Nuremberg by decision, but the bet is that finish only on Garcia. I mean, I don't think it should be anywhere near plus 195. I think Garcia is honestly the more dangerous fighter. Shalion, yes, he has a lot of finishes on his record, but he's not finishing anybody in the UFC outside of Derek Minner, who took a dive, right? So give me that finish only for Garcia, half a unit plus 195. This is a great fight to target on DraftKings because I see it playing out one of 2 ways. Shalion potentially could get a knockout just because Steve Garcia is super chinny, but more so of the opinion of Shalion goes out there, mixes in takedowns, gets control time, and wins a decision, scoring a lot of DraftKings points. On the flip side, Garcia, I think he has finish upside and very early finish upside as well. Steve Garcia is going to go after it in that first round. And I think if Garcia wins, honestly, I think it's probably in the first round as well. So I think Garcia is a very live dog in this matchup, and I like him on DraftKings at 7,300, but it's a fight overall that I really want to target. I really like these first 2 fights from a DraftKings perspective. Charles Johnson was better at steeplechase. Yeah, we got to do Charles Johnson versus Sam Hughes in steeplechase and see who the best one in the UFC there is. You've never seen Unleashed with Jet Li Brady. That's the reference Izzy was making with the collar. No, I did not. And I don't think that makes it any better. I mean, that was bad. Probaholic saying I got the under 2.5 here at plus 145. I even select the number at minus 150. Yeah, plus 145, phenomenal number. I would have played that. Minus 150, I don't really love it, to be honest, but because I could see Shalion grinding out Garcia, but yeah, plus 145, you beat the line by like a whole $1, so you should be very happy with that. Nuremberg has a crazy amount of fights for being 28. I think this is his 50th fight or something crazy like that. It's wild. What about Shalion? Unanimous decision, 5-1. I don't hate that, especially at 5-1. I was even looking at like the Shalion decision only because I don't see Garcia winning a decision here. I really don't. And that was like minus 110 at one point, which is wild. But now it's minus 135. Ended up passing on it. Garcia round 1 KO plus 1,000 is a great number. It is a great number because I think that's how he wins. First round KO. All right. We'll keep moving on here. Let's go. We got Ignacio Bahamondes going against Trey Ogden. We have Bahamondes, one of the biggest favorites on the card. He is currently sitting at minus 415 now. So he opened at minus 290. I really liked him at minus 290. Like, I was debating honestly playing that minus 290 straight. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to potentially parlay him. And then I just couldn't find a parlay piece that I liked. And I have no parlays on this card, but I am really confident in Ignacio Bahamondes, but a solid parlay piece. But what are you really going to parlay him with? I think like the over 2.5 in the Curtis Gastelum could be a good parlay piece, but just didn't really get around to doing so. What I did get around to doing so was putting 3 bets on this fight, actually. So the first bet, I put a half unit shot on Ignacio Bahamondes inside the distance at plus 120. Trey Ogden has never been knocked out, but he's never fought Ignacio Bahamondes. I mean, Trey Ogden, he's fought Jordan Levitt in the UFC, who's not knocking out anybody outside of his last fight, where Jordan Levitt outstruck him the entire fight, mostly with leg kicks. So didn't really face much danger in that matchup on the feet. And then he fought Zellhuber, who Zellhuber is a really good striker, but Zellhuber just did not show up that night. This is going to be probably the most dangerous striker he's fought thus far. So yes, Ogden's never been knocked out, but never say never. Bahamondes is going to be the best striker that Ogden's fought by a decent bit. Outside of Zellhuber, like I said, but Zellhuber did not want to fight that night. On top of that, Trey Ogden's been submitted 3 times in his career. 3 times in his career. And what I'm thinking is Ignacio Bahamondes, he just got a submission in his last fight, which I think that really hurts the value of the sub props. Like, if he did not submit Zhang Ru or Ru Zhang in his last fight, what is his name? Rong Zhu? Yeah, Rong Zhu. If he didn't submit Rong Zhu in his last fight, we're going to be getting crazy sub numbers here. So they're not as crazy, but I did sprinkle these sub props for Bahamondes just because I don't see Trey Ogden just staying at range with Bahamondes for 15 minutes. I mean, if he did that, it'd be the worst game plan ever. I mean, that'd be the dumbest thing, to just stand at range with Bahamondes for 15 minutes. I think that, Ogden's going to have to wrestle. And when Ogden wrestles, he puts his neck in back spots. We've seen him get submitted 3 times in his career. And Bahamondes has very good front chokes. We saw him get Rong Zhu. Almost got him in, I think, the second round. Ended up wrapping up his neck in the third round. So Bahamondes is working on that sub game. He's training with, Bilal Muhammad. I think Bahamondes is really working on that grappling. So I could see a scenario where either A, Bahamondes hurts Trey Ogden. Ogden has to shoot in and gets his neck wrapped up. Or B, Ogden is forced to shoot in a sloppy shot and gets his neck wrapped up that way. So I think the sub is live for Bahamondes. I would have liked a better number on it, but due to the fact that he did get a submission in his last fight, we're not going to get that. So what I did, half unit shot on Bahamondes inside the distance, plus 120. I put 0.15 units. Bahamondes sub 2 plus 2,400, and then 0.1 units on Bahamondes sub 3 plus 4,000. So I have 0.75 units total on this fight. I'm looking for Bahamondes to get this fight done inside the distance, more specifically by sub would be very nice. Hopefully give Trey Ogden his 4th submission loss there. But yeah, I like Bahamondes. I think he's a safe parlay piece if you can find another leg that you like. From a DraftKings perspective, don't really like the price tag of Bahamondes, 9,400. There's somebody like a little bit more that's right around that price range in Carl Williams. I think there's a lot better options that are cheaper. So I'm not going to get to a ton of Bahamondes. And then as far as Trey Ogden, I just really don't like his chances in this matchup. So from a DraftKings perspective, don't really love it, but I do like Bahamondes quite a bit as far as like confidence goes. See what we got in the chat here. I've Nerdebeke by decision. Yeah, I think that's the most likely outcome there. Ryan says, I like an early prelims parlay Amarim, Garcia, and Godinez, plus 5.04. If one leg loses, up to $50 cash back and bonus bets, put 50 on it. There you go. I think it's live for sure. I like Amarim a lot, Godinez a lot, and Garcia is the one I'm like iffy about, but I think he has a chance. Bahamondes round 3 KO. Put Bahamondes in your parlay. I think is a solid parlay piece. Yeah, I mean that's a concern for sure. Bahamondes, he does not wear damage well at all. I even think I saw him bleeding walking up the stage at ceremonial weigh-ins, but it's not something I think we have to worry about here. Going forward, absolutely, but something against Trey Ogden, I don't think we have to worry about it. Bahamondes to win in over 1.5. For I'm not sure what those odds are. Plus, you think of plus 192? If that's the case, my goodness, yeah, great odds there. But I'm not sure if it's plus 192 or not. Anyone thinks Alex will beat Izzy is crazy? I guess I'm crazy then. I'm going to the fights tomorrow, and I pray to the MMA gods. Let me see Izzy get KO'd in person. That'd be nice. That'd be very nice. He is coming different this fight with a different game plan. He's going to wrestle. Good luck with that. He's not a wrestler. And take down Alex and not give him any room to breathe and finish him early round 1 or round 2 and put up a big score. He's not a wrestler. He's a very bad wrestler. Is he all of a sudden going to become a wrestler at 35 years old? I don't think so. Yeah, he's saying that, but is he gonna be able to do it? I don't really think so. So yeah, all of that would really shock me. But hey, I mean, I've been wrong before. Yeah, there was a lean. I was thinking maybe about the Danilo Marquez under 1.5, or like the fight doesn't go decision as a parlay piece, but didn't get to it against Jorgen De Castro. I didn't get to look into it as much as I'd like to, but that kind of stuck out to me at plus money. Hey, Ogden by split decision plus 20. Is it really plus 2,500? That's a crazy number, but I don't know. It's hard to see him winning. I mean, maybe if he can get takedowns, that's definitely on the table though. If he can get takedowns, 2,500 is kind of wild. Christian Rodriguez by sub. Trust me, we'll talk about that play soon. Izzy's my most confident play on the slate. That just doesn't really seem smart. I mean, there's a lot of better plays I think than Izzy, to be honest. But if it's your most confident, you're most confident. All right, moving on to Lupita Godinez going against Cynthia Calvion. And yeah, if you guys watched Stat Diggers a couple months ago, I went on like a 10-minute rant on Lupita Godinez for the Angela Hill fight. And all I've heard this week was, oh, she was sick, she was hurt. And that just sounds like an excuse to me. I mean, there's no reason for her to go out there and not shoot takedowns against Angela Hill and lose that fight. So yeah, I can't trust Lupita Godinez with my money, and I'm definitely not trusting her at minus 285. There's just nothing sticking out in this fight. I was going to potentially bet Lupi inside the distance if Calvillo showed up to the scale looking like crap and missing weight, but Calvillo showed up. She looked good. Calvillo looks motivated. And if she is motivated, we probably have a live dog just due to the fact that, you know, how could you trust Lupita Godinez at minus 300? You can't. Should she win? Yeah, but you won't see me putting any money on her. I think it'd be really irresponsible to put any money on Lupi at minus 300. So yeah, big pass for me from a DraftKings perspective, from a betting perspective, and quite frankly, from a fan perspective, I'm probably not going to watch this fight. I was supposed to head to B-Dubs potentially to watch the pay-per-view, thinking about heading there around 8 or so. So this might be the fight where I take off, and it's going to take me a couple minutes to get to B-Dub. So maybe purposely miss this fight and just don't have to watch it because I don't want to watch this fight. So yeah, pass from every single perspective possible. I'm not laying minus 300 on Lupita Godinez. He's down 0-3. You got to be trolling. I mean, it's not awful to pick Izzy here. I mean, it's not, but to be that confident either way, I think it's a little irresponsible. Lupi should be okay as long as she remembers her nickname is not Hand of Stone. Yeah, I mean, she's a wrestler and a very good wrestler, very strong for the division. She should use that wrestling, and she should have against Angela Hill as well. I'm passing here. Yeah, passing is probably the best option. I'm betting on a lot of these fights this week, but this is one I just couldn't find anything for. Anything. So yeah, pretty easy pass for me. All right, let's move on to probably an even worse fight, to be honest, but this fight is so bad that it's going to be fun to watch. We have Carl Williams versus Chase Sherman, the people's main event. The fight where it's highly debated, apparently this week. A lot of people on the Carl Williams side, a lot of people taking the dog shot on Chase Sherman. I'm going to break it down as simple as possible for you guys. Chase Sherman has the worst ground game in the UFC heavyweight division, if not the entire UFC as a whole. Nobody has a worse ground game than one Chase Sherman. Off his back, he has absolutely no idea what to do. We saw Jake Collier go out there and run through him and submit him in the first round. Let me repeat that. We saw Jake Collier go out there and submit him in the very first round. So we have the worst ground game in the heavyweight division, and he's taking on a guy that's going to take him down. I mean, I think it's simple as that. Carl Williams is going to take him down early and often, and Chase Sherman's going to do nothing about it. The play I like here, I don't want to say quite a bit, but a solid play that I like is the under at plus money. I have a half a unit on the under 2.5 at plus 102, just because Carl Williams does not finish anybody, but he should finish Chase Sherman. I mean, if Carl Williams does not finish Chase Sherman, 1, he should be ashamed of himself. And 2, if Carl Williams does not finish Chase Sherman, I'm convinced Carl Williams will never get another finish in the UFC ever again. So I think he needs to finish Chase Sherman here. On the flip side, if Chase Sherman wins, it's going to be by KO. So yeah, I think Carl Williams goes out there and finishes Chase Sherman, gets on top, gets into a dominant position and pounds him out, maybe even finds a sub. I think Chase Sherman's ground game is atrocious. And I think Williams gets his first UFC finish and might even be his last. But I think if you're going to finish somebody, it's going to be Chase Sherman. We saw what Jake Collier did. So yeah, give me the under 2.5 plus money, plus 102. I like that spot. Don't love it, but I like it. And I think Carl Williams goes out there and puts up a massive score on DraftKings. The interesting part of this fight is going to be the DraftKings aspect of things. Just because Carl Williams is 9,500. I think he has one of, if not the highest upsides on the slate. So you have to play Carl Williams and a good chunk of them. But I also think Chase Sherman at 8,800 is a very sneaky dart throw because nobody's going to play him. And if Chase Sherman does win, it's going to be by knockout. So I have a lot of Williams just because you have to, just because you can't ignore that upside. I mean, he scored 130 something against Bresky. But I did sprinkle some Chase Sherman. I think this fight is borderline must owned just for, how the way it's going to play out. So love this fight on DraftKings. I like the under. And I'm going to say Carl Williams does go out there and finish Chase Sherman on the mat. And I think it's early. As well. But yeah, it should be a bad fight. It should be a hilarious fight. But it should be so hilarious and bad that it's going to be somewhat entertaining as well. So, yeah, I'm not betting on Chase Sherman. A lot of people are betting on Chase Sherman, which is very interesting. I don't know, not for me, but that'd be a big underdog hit. Some of y'all guys. I think money's been coming in on Chase Sherman as well. Yeah, Chase Sherman is now plus 320. Carl Williams was minus 500 something. So yeah, money's coming in on Chase Sherman, which is very interesting. Williams, easiest money on the slate. Yeah, I think he has the best matchup on the entire slate. My fight doesn't go to decision, minus 110. I like it. I'm on the under. Sherman got subbed in 2 minutes by Jake Collier. No more breakdown needed for this fight. I mean, yeah, that's about as bad as it gets, man. About as bad as it gets. Opinions on Joe Pifer GM3. We're going to be talking about that very, very shortly. Next up. Hey, Brady, with the Loopy Sherman fight back-to-back, it gives you a nice 2-fight window to drive to B-dubs. I'm not going to need a 2-fight window. I actually want to watch the Williams fight, to be honest. I think it's going to be entertaining. Is it going to be good? Probably not. It's going to be entertaining somewhat. I think it's going to be so bad that it's going to be funny. Weezy saying, I'm with you on the under 1.5, 205 for a full unit. Yes, I like that. And you beat some line movement, too. It looks like money came in on that under. It is now plus 190. Yeah, I think it's early as well. I think Williams drowns Chase like fat Collier and fat Romanov did. Yeah, I mean, if Jake Collier can do it, I think Carl Williams can. Sherman bet equals money on fire. Yeah, that's what I think. But at the end of the day, this is a kind of low-level heavyweight fight. So I'm not laying minus 500 on Carl Williams, but I do think he wins. Sherman by KO is plus 950 on FanDuel. 15 of 16 of his wins are by KO. Plus 950. I mean, I feel like that should be closer to his money line. I don't see Sherman winning a decision, and Sherman doesn't even know what a submission is. So yeah, plus 950. If you like Sherman, why not play the plus 950 knockout prop? That's kind of wild. All right, I'm going to take a sip of water, and then we will get going. That fight. Those last 2 fights, I mean, Godinez, Calvion, took a little bit of the energy out of me. But we're going to get it back with this fight here. And I got a cough. Sorry, that loopy fight. Okay. Joe Pifer going against Gerald Meerschaert. Yeah, this is the best fight on the prelims. I gotta think. I think the Gastelum Curtis fight's fire, but I'm really looking forward to Joseph Pifer going against Gerald Meerschaert. And I have a lot of bets on this fight. So I think the best play, first and foremost, is some type of violence. Whether it's the fight doesn't go to decision as a parlay piece, the under 2.5 as a parlay piece. I think violence is the safest way to go. This is how I played violence, though. So I played this two ways. And as long as one of these outcomes happen, I'll be making some profit on this fight. I think these are the two most likely outcomes here. So the first thing I did was I put a half unit on Joe Pifer to win by first round knockout at plus 290. And then I put a quarter unit on Joe Pifer to win by knockout at plus 650. I think Joe Pifer is going to go out there, march Gerald Meerschaert down and knock him out. I was listening to Joe Pifer and Sean Brady's podcast. Shout out to them. They actually do a podcast every week. And I was listening to Pifer's breakdown, and he broke it down just like that. He said he's going to go out there, march forward, show Meerschaert no respect on the feet, and knock him out. And then what really caught my attention was Joe Pifer was like, I bet my life on the knockout prop. Not his money line, not the inside the distance. Pifer was like, I bet my life on the knockout prop. The knockout prop. And I'm like, oh, whew, Joe, I was already leaning the knockout prop. So once he said that, I mean, if you're betting your life, and he was like, if I lose, somebody's gonna kill me or something. Like, I'm like, wow, betting your life on not only your money line, your knockout prop. Respect. So we'll see if Joe Pifer gets to keep his life or not. My goodness. So yeah, I put a half unit on the first round KO plus 290. A quarter unit on the KO to plus 650, hoping one of those outcomes happen. I think if Joe Pifer wins, it's early. I don't think it's late. I don't think it's by decision, more than likely. And then what I also did was every time Gerald Meerschaert fights, I feel like you have to bet his sub prop, and you have to bet him in round 3, just because how many times have we seen Gerald Meerschaert lose a fight and then all of a sudden come back in the second and third round and get a submission out of nowhere. So what I also did was I put 0.15 units on Gerald Meerschaert sub 2 plus 1,200, and then 0.1 units on Gerald Meerschaert round 3 sub plus 2,200. So if Pifer wins by knockout in the first or second round, it's good. If Gerald Meerschaert wins by submission in the second or third, it's good. So I'm hoping for one of those outcomes. What I can't have happen is a Pifer KO3 or decision, or Meerschaert KO1 or sub 1 or decision. So I'm liking where I'm at with that. I think that's a solid way to play violence, because some of those numbers are pretty juicy. Like Meerschaert round 3 sub plus 2,200. Like, I think that's probably how he wins. I think it's late finish for Meerschaert, like always, really. But for me, my personal opinion is I think Pifer goes out there and knocks him out. So I like the knockout prop quite a bit, but that's how I played it. And I think this is a really good fight to target on DraftKings. Joe Pifer, I think early knockout upside, first round knockout upside. And then Gerald Meerschaert's always a live dog, no matter who he's fighting. Gerald Meerschaert's always an underdog on the money line, and he always finds these upsets. And hey, it very well could happen here. Like, if this fight hits the mat, Gerald Meerschaert very well could get a submission in this fight. So love it from DraftKings perspective, and I love violence in this fight. I think it's the most violent fight on the card. I think it's going to deliver. Joe Pifer was like, he's going in there with like a kill or be killed mindset, you know? So yeah, I like this fight to finish quite a bit. $1 bet on Sherman KO and Jorge KO will make me a millionaire. Not quite, but yeah, I mean, to parlay those together, it definitely will be a big payout. Should be Pifer, but Gerald has Meerschaerted on a ton of my bets over the years. That's what he does. Brady, if your water jug gets any bigger, it will be a rain barrel. Yes, sir. I agree. Showing someone no respect is how you get submitted. He actually did show Meerschaert's ground game some respect there. I don't think he's going to grapple with Meerschaert, and I like that. Remember that fighter who bet his entire win bonus on himself? I think Justin James you're talking about. Yes. So we've seen fighters that bet that, not pay out, but have we seen a fighter bet his life? I don't know. So that really caught me off guard. I was like, ooh, goodness. We'll see. Pifer's going to land the right hand, sending Meerschaert to the front row. Very possible. But Pifer hits like a truck, man. Pifer hits like a truck. GM3 is being severely underrated against Pifer. Hey, GM3 is underrated in every fight. Every fight. He's only been the favorite in like 2 or 3 UFC fights, and he has like 20 or close to 20. Really? Is it confirmed? Nunez Pena 3, UFC 289 was that in Canada, I think. Well, I won't be attending that one, but I like Nunez. GM3 is arguably the GOAT of the sport. Arguably. And I agree, Magic. Even if it goes to the mat, Pifer's decent there. I agree. Early on, he should be fine, but I do have concerns. Like if Pifer starts to get tired and it hits the mat later in the second and third round, I have major concerns. Like we've seen Jonathan Patty submit Pifer in the second round before, and that was not too long ago. Yeah, I mean, it's still plus 2,200. I think if you have bet 365, yeah, 2,200, 22 to 1 for Meerschaert round 3 sub. I mean, he's done it a lot, so we'll see. And yeah, I agree. He should be fine. Yeah, just don't go to the mat with Gerald Meerschaert. All right. That was a good fight. We'll move on to another fight. We have Luana Panero going against Michelle Waterson Gomez. I took the shot here. I don't feel amazing about it just because Waterson Gomez is a 37-year-old strawweight, but man, this is a big step down in competition for Michelle Waterson Gomez, and it's a big step up in competition for Luana Panero, whose fight, that Frosta girl in the Contender Series, she struggled with Sam Hughes. She took the easy way out and quit against Random Marcos. And she's fighting a really good fighter, Michelle Waterson Gomez. It's just Waterson Gomez is getting up there in age. I'm not a big fan of Panero. I'm a big fan of her in round 1. I think she has really good judo. She's very strong. I think she has a lot of power as well. But after the first round, and even like late first round, the wheels start to fall off a little bit. So yeah, Panero probably wins the first round. She probably gets takedown. She probably lands a big shot early. But what's going to happen in round 2 and round 3? And honestly, this is probably a better live betting situation than anything. So maybe I should have waited to live bet Waterson. But yeah, the plus 150 really stuck out to me because this is going to be a massive jump down in competition for Gomez and then a massive jump up in competition for Panero. Like if you're struggling against Sam Hughes, I really question how good you actually are. And then the cardio of Panero is not good as well. So I like Waterson. I think it's going to be a close fight, though. I think it's a close fight. I think it goes the distance. So at that point, you have to trust the judges, which I don't like, but it's plus money. It's plus 150. So I think Panero wins the first. I think Gomez wins that third. I think it's all going to come down to that second round. And I think Gomez definitely has all the tools to win this fight, but it's going to be a close one. I also considered like the split decision prop. I have a couple bets on the split decisions this week, and this was one of them. It was only plus 350. So I ended up passing, but yep, taking the dog shot on Waterson Gomez, hoping we have a WMMA dog come through here. And I think she's very, very live. I don't think Panero finishes her early. I don't think Waterson Gomez is some bum. So should be a close one, though. From a DraftKings perspective, if anything, it's probably dog or pass, if anything. But even then, I don't have a ton of interest in Waterson Gomez at 7,600. I think there's a lot of dogs that are live on this card and a lot of dogs that are live with upside. And yes, I think Gomez is live to win. I don't know if she has a ton of upside on DraftKings. So not a fight I really love from DraftKings perspective. But yeah, I did take the dog shot on Waterson Gomez. Don't feel amazing about it, but plus money, I will take the shot there. Sam Hughes really has no skills. I think her best skill is just being very tough. She's very tough. She's very hard to get out of there. She has very good cardio. She can break you. I don't think she's great anywhere, whether it's the grappling, the striking, the wrestling, but she's tough. And sometimes that's enough to win some fights in the UFC, and she has done just that. So I think she's solid, but not amazing everywhere. Waterson actually looked a little bit bigger at the ceremonials, and yeah, that stuck out to me as well. And yeah, Waterson, for a 37-year-old strawweight, she looks to be in some incredible shape. As a rule, I bet on the women's underdog against any opponent coming off surgery. Waterson here for me too. Yeah, Panero did have some type of surgery. I forget exactly what it was. If you know, you can let me know. But yeah, she is coming off of surgery, a little bit of a layoff. And the last time we did see Panero, it wasn't the best look at all. Gomez here, Panero with the body kicks at distance. Yeah, I think she will struggle at distance. She's going to have to close the range. And we're in the big cage, which I think helps Waterson Gomez as well. You think Ponzi has a good chance? We'll talk about that soon. I think he has a chance just because Kevin Holland has terrible fight IQ. And just for that reason, yes, he's going to have a chance. But I am of the opinion of Kevin Holland is going to get it done here. Yo, Brady, what is our Nate Landwehr bet of the week? Ah, man, that Nate Land. I don't think anything's ever going to live up to that, but I think Bahamondes sub 2, sub 3 is going to be live. I do have some very small pokes. Gerald Meerschaert, sub 2, round 3 is very live, so maybe one of those can hit. That'd be nice. Panero took Marcos, kick to the chin, seemed bad. Yeah, a lot of people thought she was acting in that fight. That's what it really looked like live, but I don't know. But yeah, she's back after that was a while ago. Last time she fought, I was in Vegas with the pub guys, and that was back when I was in college a couple years ago at this point. Hello, nice. I took Bahamondes by sub. Yeah, I think it's going to be there. I think there's going to be some opportunities. And that is all I need at those crazy numbers. Just an opportunity. Yeah, whenever Landwehr, I was like, so Landwehr rocks lingo. And I'm like, I'm having a bad night. I'm having a terrible night in betting. I got pretty much everything wrong. And I'm like, a terrible night. And he rocks lingo. I'm like, oh, okay. He's going to knock him out. And then all of a sudden he takes him down. I'm like, oh. And I'm sitting back. I'm not getting my hopes up. And then he sinks in that choke. And I'm like, yes, tap, tap. And then he taps. And it was probably the craziest I've ever went. I was throwing stuff around the house. I hit my wife with like a pillow and she got mad at me. But I was going crazy. I even had to call Uncle Weezy after it. That was the biggest prop I've ever hit, plus 3,300 on that Nate Landwehr round 2. So that was good. It saved my entire night. Went from a brutal night, honestly, to a slight winning night. That was awesome. What is up, Jace? How you doing? Macy's been gifted too many decisions. Yes, way too many. Way too many. All right. Dude, I was jumping up and down like a fool. Yeah, I was like, I was running around the house. Like, I don't know. It was wild. The pause after I hit my wife. No, I hit her with like I threw up a pillow in it and hit her in the face, but she was all right. It's a pillow. But she was a little upset about that. All right. And then she was happy for me. So, all right, we'll move on to the next fight. We have Kelvin Gastelum going against Chris Curtis. Close fight. Favored to go the distance. I favor it to go the distance. Both guys are very, very tough. Why not the split decision? I've done these split decisions in the past, and every time I do them, the fight like finishes in the first round. So maybe that happens here, but I think it's close. I think it goes the distance. I think the judges suck. I think they don't know what they're watching. I think some of them don't even watch the fight. I think a split is very live here in a close fight. So I bet the split decision. I bet 2 of them on this card, hoping to go at least 1-1 on these splits. Quarter unit plus 450. I think it's now down to plus 20 or plus 425. So some action has been coming on the split, and it makes a lot of sense. So we'll see what happens. I want to finally hit a split prop. It'd be nice to do so here. So that's how I'm playing it. Split decision, quarter unit. I don't want a ton on this fight. I don't have a ton of confidence either side. A lot of people on Gastelum, due to the fact it's a step down in competition. Gastelum should be a little bit higher volume. I want to be on the plus money, so I'm picking Curtis because I think it's going to be a very close fight that goes either way. And like I said, the judges are going to probably screw this up, and I'm hoping they screw it up in a split decision type fashion, which would be plus 450. So that's why I'm playing it. From a DraftKings perspective, I'm fading this fight. I don't see wrestling either way. I think Gastelum's going to try to wrestle, but good luck at doing that against Curtis. I don't see an early knockout, an early finish. So yeah, I think this fight goes the distance and it doesn't put up a good score. Pretty easy fade for me from a DraftKings perspective. But yeah, give me that split decision prop there. Macy Barber could get slept by Ngannou and still somehow get the decision. Potentially. Yes, sir. That's why we do that. Congrats, brother. Appreciate you, prop. I know a lot of people that got that Nate Landwehr sub prop. A lot of people were on it. That was nice. What about betting the draw? There to be like a 10-8 or like a point deduction, which I think our guy Lou Betcha is actually calling for a point deduction in this fight. So maybe the draw is kind of live. I don't know, but I think it's going to be close regardless. So not the worst bet in the world at plus 6,600 there, but I'm leaving that split prop. Curtis scorecards, no action, plus or minus 125. It was plus money, but looks like money's came in on that. Lou Betcha picked the draw on Curtis Gastelum. There you go. 66-1. All right. Yeah, Kelvin plus 129. Yeah, Curtis opened up like minus 170, I think. So yeah, money's been pouring in on Kelvin. The line has flipped. You did your job, NHJ. And now you could either hedge out for some free money or you can let it ride. Plus 129. Good line there. But yeah, I think this can go either way. I think either way, you want to be on the plus money for this one. Just because the judges are atrocious. All right, main card time. We have a 5-fight main card. Very good main card. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. A betting breakdown video will be coming out at 7 tonight, so a couple hours. And then best bet will be tomorrow at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. All right, Rosas Jr. going against Christian Rodriguez. Christian Rodriguez is the only fighter to miss weight, which I put odds out on Twitter today on whether Cynthia Calvion is going to miss weight or not. I put, yes, she's going to miss weight, minus 150. No, she's going to make weight at plus 130. So cash those dog tickets on Cynthia Calvion coming down to straw weight and making weight. That really surprised me. She was the last person to weigh in. But yeah, what did surprise me as well is Christian Rodriguez missed weight, and then he went to cut that extra pound, and he couldn't do it. So that's not a good look. First of all, he did not look great on the scale. Second of all, he went back and tried to cut that weight again. Not the best look in the world. So I was already on Rosas Jr. picking him to win. A bet that I do like is the fight to end by submission, plus 138. I put a half a unit on that. I think it's Rosas Jr. getting the early sub here. But there just wasn't much of a difference between the Rosas Jr. submission prop and the fight to end by submission. And like a couple people, I think Rodriguez is going to have opportunities here for a sub. I'm not saying he's going to get the sub, but he's going to have opportunities. Rodriguez has a very good submission game. He almost got Jonathan Pearson that guillotine. He submitted Joshua Williams his last time out. So Rodriguez is probably going to attempt a couple submissions here because this fight is going to take place on the mat. So just to cover both sides, I want the fight to end by submission. I think it's much more likely it's Rosas, but hey, just in case, right? So give me the fight to end by sub, plus 138. I think this fight does finish inside the distance, especially with Rodriguez looking like crap on the scales. And then from a DraftKings perspective, I think Rosas Jr. has either the first or second highest ceiling on the slate. I think he has first round sub upside. I think that he can make this look pretty easy, honestly. Or if this fight does turn out to be a 3-round decision, I think he can rack up a ton of takedowns, a ton of control time, and score a lot. And then as far as Rodriguez, I think he's a sneaky play at 7,100 just because if this fight's on the feet, it's Rodriguez all day. It's not even close. And then Rodriguez, like I said, is going to have those opportunities to find a sub at some point. What was the Rodriguez sub prop? I was hoping for a much better number. I was hoping for a much, much better number for Rodriguez by sub. It's only plus 950, plus 1,100. I think that's somewhat live. I don't know if it's going to hit, but what I do know is there's going to be opportunities. Like if you have that plus 1,100 ticket, you're going to have a couple shots where you're like, oh, he's gonna sub this guy. And I think Rosas probably does work his way out of those submission attempts and gets one of his own there. But yeah, fight ends by sub, plus 138 is the bet. Half a unit on that. It's not. Okay, there he goes. Junk saying, can I get your best 3-fighter moneyline parlay at the end, Brady? Yeah, I'll give it to you real quick right now. No parlays for me this week, but my most confident money lines. You probably don't want to parlay up Carl Williams, but he's probably one of my most confident plays. Carl Williams. Carl Williams. See, this is hard. Okay, Carl Williams, Ignacio Bahamondes. I feel really good about Bahamondes. Carl Williams, I feel decent about. And then I'd either go Raul Rosas or Kevin Holland. I guess I'll go Kevin Holland, but it's hard to trust him. But yeah, no parlays for me. I wouldn't really go out there parlaying up everything this week, but those are probably my 3 most confident. I guess Gilbert Burns maybe, but even then, I don't know. Bummer about C-Rod. Yeah, the weigh-ins weren't the best look. Rodriguez is winning. He's gonna have opportunities. He will have opportunities. What? If Raul Rosas starts slurring trash talk during this fight, I think Rodriguez might just tap out due to double ear bleeds. Goodness. Maybe. You never know. But yeah, should be a really good fight there with Raul Rosas Jr. Christian Rodriguez, looking forward to that one. All right, we'll keep moving on. 4 fights left. We have Kevin Holland going against Santiago Ponzinnibio. I hate betting Kevin Holland fights. I don't know. he's one of the most frustrating fighters to bet on because I think he has, all the skills. I mean, this guy has what a frame this guy has. 6'3", 81-inch reach. We saw at the ceremonial weigh-ins, Kevin Holland is going to be towering over Santiago Ponzinnibio. I mean, this reach of 8-inch reach advantage, that's no joke in a fight where they're going to be striking. Kevin Holland's going to get the fight he wants here, and that's a fight on the feet. It's a really good matchup for Kevin Holland. The only problem is Kevin Holland has some of the worst fight IQ, if not the worst fight IQ I've ever seen in my life. It is terrible. Multiple occasions where he's going out there and it seems like he's messing around. It seems like he's going in there to have fun, to talk trash, to just mess around in there. And I mean, it's fun from like a fan, but when you're betting on this guy, it's something you don't really like to see. Like what was he doing in that last fight against Stephen Thompson where he was on top of Stephen Thompson. First of all, he's getting he was getting destroyed on the feet. He lands on top of Stephen Thompson and he lets him up. Like, Kevin Holland, what are you doing? So I don't think this guy is the smartest guy in the world, but I think he's super talented. And I think that Kevin Holland has a good opportunity to get a finish here. And I think that's a lot because of the last fight with Ponzinnibio was a horrible look. Ponzinnibio, a guy that's typically tough. I mean, this guy's typically durable. 36 years old, though. And Alex Morono, who is not a finisher at all, went out there and hurt Ponzinnibio. Not only hurt him, but hurt him in every single round. In the first round, in the second round, and in the third round. If Alex Morono, who came in on short notice, looked like he didn't even train for the fight, if Alex Morono can hurt you like that, I think Kevin Holland's going to knock out Ponzinnibio here. Ponzinnibio officially has been knocked out 3 times. I think it's 4 here. I think Kevin Holland gets to finish. I did not want to bet on Kevin Holland, and I'm not betting the money line. But what I will be betting is Kevin Holland inside the distance. Got it at plus 148. I missed the plus 150, but got it at plus 148 for a half a unit there. I think Kevin Holland, as long as he fights smart, like I could see Kevin Holland knocking this guy down and helping him up, giving him a high five or something. I don't know, knocking him down, going and talking to DC over there. But yeah, as long as he goes in there like motivated, like I'm going to get this, he should finish Ponzinnibio at some point. Kevin Holland hits very hard. And like I said, he's going to get the fight he wants. And that is a fight on the feet. And that's a fight where he's very dangerous there. So Holland inside the distance. From a DraftKings perspective, I don't mind shots on Ponzinnibio at 6,900 just because, Holland, it's really hard to trust the guy. And if Holland goes in there and messes around, Ponzinnibio is going to be live to win this fight. And Ponzinnibio is a good fighter. It's just the age, the durability is starting to concern me a little bit. So yeah, on DraftKings, it's probably Ponzinnibio. But I think Holland does eventually finish him here. Curtis said Rosas Jr. speaks in subtitles. I saw that. That was funny. Shermanator is going to sleep Williams. Yeah, a lot of people on the Shermanator, which is it's interesting. Holland doesn't usually score well on DK, but do you think he pays off a salary here? I'm not playing much of Kevin Holland. So I'm hoping he does get that finish, but I'm hoping it comes in the second or third round. Masvidal is going to whoop Gilbert Burns. Kind of a hot take there. A lot of people think that Burns whoops Masvidal. I bet fight doesn't go to decision here. Both leave tons of openings, and Pons is always looking for that knockout punch power. Yeah, I don't really see Pons finishing Kevin Holland just because Kevin Holland is next level tough, but Pons does hit hard. So, but I'm more so the opinion. I think Holland gets the knockout here. Pons is a beast. Surprised more people not taking a shot on him here. Yeah, he is a beast. He's really good. I just think the wheels are starting to fall off a little bit. So, all right. Let us, and I did see something on Israel's hands, like a big bump on his hand or something. Not sure what's going on there. All right. Next, we have Adrian Yanez going against Rob Font. This is probably the toughest fight for me to call on the card. Like, if Rob Font, if I didn't see the Jose Aldo fight and the Marlon Vera fight, I'd be max betting Rob Font here all day, every day. This is a massive step up in competition for Adrian Yanez. Adrian Yanez has fought some of the worst UFC competition you will ever see in your life. Like, listen to some of these names for Adrian Yanez. Victor Rodriguez, Alaska FC guy, cut. Gustavo Lopez went 1-3 in the UFC. I think he's cut. Randy Costa, 0-3 in his last 3 fights, cut. Davey Grant, his best win But my goodness, I thought that fight could have went either way. And then Tony Kelly, I believe, is cut as well. So yeah, the majority of the guys Yanez has fought and beat, they are cut or they're Davey Grant, and that Davey Grant fight was a close fight. It's one of those fights where I think Rob Font's going to be the minute winner here. I think Rob Font is going to be landing more volume. I think Rob Font's going to win the first round. Adrian Yanez, typically a slow starter. And it's going to be one of those fights where it's going to be Rob Font landing more in terms of the volume, but it's going to be Yanez landing more in terms of the damage. Rob Font's going to be wearing it. Rob Font's going to be the one wobbling around the cage. He's going to be the one getting dropped if there are knockdowns in this fight. So I do lean Yanez in this fight, but ever so slightly. Like I think Rob Font's a very live dog. It's weird. Prior to the Jose Aldo fight, Rob Font had been dropped 0 times. This guy is typically next level durable, and I still think he's very durable. Like when he's getting knocked down, he's recovering right away. He's not going out there and getting finished. At the end of the day, Rob Font still in 25 fights has never been knocked out. Is Adrian Yanez going to be the very first one to do it? Maybe. A lot of people do think that, and I even looked at maybe a Yanez KO prop, but you're only getting like plus 160, and I need a lot better than that for Yanez to go out there and be the first one to knock out Rob Font. I do have 2 bets here. The first bet I have is I took a small shot on Rob Font by decision just because this line is wild to me. I got it at plus 285. Yeah, plus 285 for a quarter unit. I think this fight actually does go to decision. I think it goes to decision. I think it's close. Minute winning of Font, moment winning of Yanez. And if this fight does go to decision, I think it's a very close fight. So this is my other split decision prop of the week. I have a quarter unit on the fight to end in split decision plus 550. I think the judges are really going to struggle to score this fight because I think Rob Font's going to do a lot of good work. And I think Yanez is going to land big shots, sway the judges one way or another. And I think this fight really could go either way. So for me, it's from a money line perspective, it's dog or pass with Font. But I did take a small shot on that Font by decision. But yeah, like I said, those last 2 fights for Font are just a terrible look. I mean, getting hurt in round 2, 3, 4, and 5 against Vera, that's a bad look. Getting hurt a lot against Jose Aldo, that's a bad look. But this is not Jose Aldo or Marlon Vera. So we'll see. We'll see where Font's durability is at. Maybe he's completely done. Maybe the durability is completely gone. We'll see. Maybe Yanez is the first one to knock him out. But I'm not ready to completely count out Rob Font just yet, but this should be a very fun fight. From a DraftKings perspective, I think it's a really good fight here to target. Adrian Yanez has, I think, all the finish upside in this matchup, knockdown upside, a lot of volume in his own right. And then if Rob Font wins this fight, you're looking at 100 points just because this guy throws and lands so much volume. I think he has all the takedown upside in this fight. So a very, very good fight to target on DraftKings here in Yanez and Font. Adrian Yanez is a bad guy. Yeah, this is fight of the night. Yeah, I think so. I think this very well could be fight of the night. Such a good fight. I have a bet here. More significant strikes in the first round and more significant strikes overall. Font for plus 115, like a same game parlay type thing. I think Font absolutely lands more in the first. Overall, I lean towards Font landing more overall as well. I think that's a really good look, especially if you like Font. Seen a lot of people on Meerschaert money line. Do you think it could hit? I don't think it does, but you can never count out Meerschaert. So I don't think it's a terrible look whatsoever. But I did sprinkle the Meerschaert sub props 2 and 3. I wouldn't dare bet the money line on this fight. Judge is going to get it wrong one way or another. Yes, and that's why I bet the split. Judges are not going to know what the heck to do when this fight goes the distance because it's going to be a very close fight, I think. Give me the dog money here and something that should be in the judge's hands in the end. I don't hate that at all. Don't hate that at all. Yan by decision. Yeah, that's what I'm actually picking as far as the prediction goes. Yan by decision, just by landing the harder shots, having the better moments. But I think it'll be a close one. Yanez by decision, but more significant strikes. For Font, I think you mean strikes in the first and more significant strikes overall. Font for plus 2,000. Goodness. I see Yanez as a young Font. They're both very, very good. Yanez, what is he, 29? Yeah. Font 35. I don't like that, but we'll see. It's going to be a very fun fight. But yeah, hoping for a split one way or another, no matter who wins. All right, co-main event. We have Gilbert Burns going against Jorge Masvidal. I have a bet on pretty much every fight on this card, but I do not have a bet here. The one thing I was considering was like the over 2.5 rounds, but I don't really want to pull the trigger on just because there's a lot of narrative stuff. Like, is Jorge Masvidal motivated here? Which I personally think it sounds like he is, but who knows? It's a fight where there's a lot of question marks, a lot of red flags, and a really, really big money line here on Gilbert Burns. It's one of those fights where I think it's potentially a trap here. I think the books are kind of wanting you to go out there and bet Jorge Masvidal. They're giving you a big price to do so. And I feel like Burns, should be favored in this matchup, not minus 500, but should be favored in this matchup, and does have a path to victory. And that path to victory is going to be getting the fight down to the mat. So yeah, give me Burns here for the win. Burns by decision, but I'm not laying minus 400 or minus 500 on the guy. That's for sure. From a DraftKings perspective, I mean, it's a pretty easy Burns fade for me. 9,600 is a lot. I think there's much better options cheaper. I know a lot of people think that Burns is going to run right through Masvidal, and I don't really think that's the case. Masvidal's only been finished once in the UFC, and the guy's been in the UFC for a very long time. Last time Masvidal was submitted, it was back in 2009. So I'm kind of more so Burns decision type fight, but 9,600, I can't get there. If anything, it's on DraftKings, it's Masvidal, just because if Masvidal is able to stuff the takedowns, he's not going to look 6,600. And he has a lot of power, and Burns has shown to have a questionable chin. So yeah, on DraftKings, it's Masvidal, but no really interest from a betting perspective here. Burns by decision is the pick, though. Burns is going to retire. Jorge tomorrow. Watch. Yeah, I think if Burns does win this fight, and there's a good chance he does, I think you might be right. Because that would be what? That'd be 4 losses in a row for Jorge Masvidal. But maybe he takes one more, like big fight against, like, I don't know, somebody he can potentially beat. I don't know. I think maybe one more after. I don't know if this is his retirement fight. Maybe one more. That could be that's a good point. That's a good point. You're setting up for Jorge to retire in Miami. That is a good point. Maybe you're right. Would you be more confident in Burns, Masvidal over 1.5, or Gastelum, Curtis over 2.5? I like both, but Gastelum, Curtis, I think, is safer there. Burns by decision plus 180. Yeah, I'd like a little bit better of a line. What is it? I'd like a little bit better of a line just because a lot of people think Burns is just going to slice right through him like butter. Burns by decision. I don't even have plus 180. I have plus 150, plus 165. So yeah, I'm not touching it, but I think that hits for you there. Yeah, you're right. It's dog or pass, if anything, but at the end of the day, I don't think that dog ticket probably cashes. But yeah, these odds are whack. But yeah, the lines came down a little bit. Like Burns was minus 500 or so earlier in the week, and now he's sitting at what? Minus 440. So yeah, money is coming in on Masvidal a little bit. And I get it, but I think Burns wins this one. All right. Now we have the main event. We have Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira 2. So gonna close out my night with another underdog bet. I'm taking Alex Pereira here, plus 120 for a half a unit. And it's weird. Like, there's a lot of matchups I'd like to see for Alex Pereira in the middleweight division. Like, I'd like to see him fight like a Robert Whittaker, a Marvin Vettori, somebody that's going to try to take him down. Israel Adesanya is not a wrestler. Israel Adesanya is never going to be a wrestler. Israel Adesanya is 33, 34 years old. I don't think he's all of a sudden going to become a wrestler at this point of his career. Is he going to go for takedowns? Yeah, he absolutely is. Did he say he's going to go for takedowns? Yes, he is. Is he going to be successful going for takedowns? I don't think so. Israel Adesanya has landed one takedown in his entire career. Like, I don't know. And Alex Pereira showed really good takedown defense in the first fight. He really did. He stuffed 3 of 4 takedowns. And the one takedown that Adesanya got, it was because he reversed Pereira last second. It looked like Pereira was going for a takedown in his own right, which is a dumb look. And then Adesanya reversed him, got on top, and that was the round. So yes, if Adesanya can get down Pereira, he probably controls him for the entire round. But yeah, like I said, I don't think he's a good wrestler. I really don't. And him working on that wrestling over the past couple months, I don't think that's going to be enough here. So I think they're going to strike. And when they are striking, Adesanya, probably the better overall striker, has more tools on the feet, more volume, better movement. But I don't think a lot of that matters because Alex Pereira has that one equalizer, and that one equalizer is the power. Alex Pereira has fight-changing power, fight-ending power, and he has 25 minutes to land a big shot. 25 minutes in the cage with Alex Pereira is a very long time. And for Adesanya to win, he's going to have to fight perfectly for 25 minutes. He's going to have to stay awake for 25 minutes against Alex Pereira, who hits like a truck. I think Pereira's going to have a lot of opportunities to find the knockout here, and I think he does. So I like Pereira. I'm taking the dog shot. I don't know. I just don't expect Izzy to wrestle here. And if you're expecting him to go out there and wrestle for 25 minutes, I think you're wrong, to be honest. I think he's going to try to, but I just don't think he's going to have a lot of success doing that. So I like Alex Pereira here as a dog, taking the dog shot. We'll see what happens. From a DraftKings perspective, I like Pereira quite a bit as well. I think he has knockout upside. I think he gets it done. But Adesanya, 8,300. If it turns out Adesanya is able to wrestle across 25 minutes, Adesanya is going to put up a massive score at 8,300. So I will have some Adesanya as well. I'm going to have close to 100% of this fight. But I do have a lean towards Pereira in that ownership. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I do have more Pereira. But I have a good amount of Adesanya as well, because Adesanya as well can maybe get a knockdown. I don't think Pereira has the best chin. And if Adesanya is able to implement that wrestling, he's going to score pretty big here. So, but yeah, the pick for me is Pereira and Pereira by knockout. But the bet is going to be that money line plus 120, half a unit. Israel Adesanya masterclass, all of nothing. And yeah, it could maybe look like a masterclass. I could see it, but it just takes one shot. One shot. Izzy by first round knockout. Alex got saved by the bell in the first. Yes, he did. Betting Izzy by sub in every round. I don't know. I don't think he's a good grappler or a good wrestler, so we'll see. Does the under 4.5 seem good? Not really at the price tag it's at. I bet the fight doesn't go to decision. Their first fight at around plus money, and not even getting anywhere close to that. So I'm staying away from it, but I do lean towards this fight going under, but it's like, what is it? Minus 135. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. Izzy will visit the Shadow Realm. I think so. Goodness. Jack does not like Adesanya. Christian by sub plus 1,100. We talked about it a little bit. I think it's going to have opportunities to hit. Don't know if it hits, but I think it's going to have opportunities to do so. All right, guys, we did it. Went a little bit long, but we had a lot to talk about. Going to quickly go over my bets here. If you have any final questions, any final comments, throw them up, and then I'll hit on those real quick. But yeah, 2 money line bets for me on this card. Half a unit shot on Alex Pereira plus 120. Half a unit shot on Michelle Waterson. Kicking the night off with Sam Hughes, Jacqueline Amarim under 2.5 rounds. Half a unit plus 100. Kevin Holland wins inside the distance. Half a unit plus 148. Rosas Jr., Christian Rodriguez fight ends by submission, plus 138. Half a unit, Steve Garcia, finish only, plus 195. Quarter unit, Rob Font wins by decision, plus 285. And then the quarter unit on the split decision props in both the Yanez Font fight and then the Gastelum Curtis fight, looking for at least one split in one of those fights. Ignacio Bahamondes wins inside the distance, half a unit plus 120. Bahamondes sub round 2, 0.15 units plus 2,400. Bahamondes sub round 3, 0.1 units plus 4,000. Joe Pifer wins in round 1 by KO, plus 290, half a unit. Joe Pifer wins by KO 2, quarter unit plus 650. And then finally, Meerschaert wins in round 2 by submission, 0.15 units plus 1,200. And then Gerald Meerschaert wins in round 3 by submission, 0.1 units plus 2,200 there. So 17 bets. 17 plus money bets, expecting to lose a lot, but when you're betting plus money like this, you really only have to hit a couple to make out on top. So I'm not expecting to go 17 out of 17, but hit a couple of these, hit a couple big ones, and hopefully come out with some profit, keep the winning streak going here. On DK, who do you think is the highest scoring fighter? I think it's between Carl Williams and Rosas Jr. All right, and Poton is going to sleep the last style bender. I'm leaning that way as well. All right, guys, going to head out. Before we head out, if you guys could please leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Once we do get 20,000 subs, I'm going to start implementing a brand new show each and every week. I'll talk more about that when the time comes. So let's get to 20K subs, hopefully in the near future. Tune into Best Bet tomorrow, 1 hour prior to the prelims, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. And also, my betting breakdown video will be out in about an hour and a half. And I'm also doing a contest on that betting breakdown video. So check that out. And yeah, should be a good card. Enjoy the fights. It's going to be a good one. And best of luck for UFC 287. Let us make some money on this card. Should be a very fun fight card. See you guys later.